Doop, today on Doop by the River, we're going to talk about the MLS All-Star roster that is finally out. We're going to talk about who's on it and who's not on it. How about the Friday night vibes out at the Soup? The Union put up 7 goals on DC United. We're going to look back at that matchup as we look ahead at our midweek matchup against Inter Miami. And don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get it started, guys.
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure, if you would do us a solid by hitting that like button, subscribe to view all your live, and, of course, you can find us where you stream podcasts on Doop by the River 5. Just a quick heads up, we're in a little bit of a fritz. So last week's episode and more than likely this week's episode won't be up, but we will be up and running as soon as Bossman gets that fixed for us. But just a quick heads up, we are available on Dupe by the River podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you our experts in duping. And first up, let's welcome on back Zach Lobasso. What's up, Zach? How you feeling, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm excited, man. It's good to see you back, man. And we're talking about a fun one. I'm sure you're excited to talk about a lot of goals.
Oh, yeah. Goals are good. Justin doesn't like goals, but I like goals.
Justin's more of a park in the bus type of guy. He likes Jose Mourinho with Inter Milan. That's his type of style there. And of course, as always, Justin Carranza, cycling appreciator, Friedberg. Justin, what's up, buddy? How you feeling, man?
Pretty good. And Zach, the goalie's got to appreciate a good defensive game. So I can still appreciate a good goal fest, even though, I don't know if you can call what DC did defense.
No, it was not. It was not. I don't know what that was. You know what that was? That was them trying to get Rooney to be their head coach. That was what that was. They did everything possible to be like, you know what? We need Wayne Rooney. So we're going to show the front office that we really need Wayne Rooney.
So I do have to ask. We'll break this match down in just a bit. But is this another Jim firing? Did Jim get Chad fired? Do we consider that?
He was never going to be the manager ultimately, so I don't think you can consider it that. I think he might have expedited the process.
Yeah, so. I don't think Ashton, Zach's right. Ashton, if you look at he's like one of the longest tenured employees there. He literally is the character, like the definition of a caretaker manager. He comes in every time a coach is fired and just kind of keeps going until eventually a head coach is hired, and then he's somehow he's put back on the as an assistant coach because he has such a good rapport with the players. It's like, some people, it's like they're pretty good assistant coaches and then they're good temporary coaches. I think Ashton's kind of like one of those, like, he's just keeping the seat warm for Wayne.
Yep.
So he's Mike Yeo. He's Mike Yeo. There you go. All right. So guys, before we dive into today's episode, we want to try something different. We love you guys as the fans. We are fans ourselves. And so what we want to try to do is we want to hear your guys' experiences at the Soup, or if you guys are away, we want to hear from you guys. So this is going to be the first iteration of it. So we're going to welcome on in a dear friend and a fan of the Union and fan of the pod, Mr. John Nolick, who's going to tell us his experience from Friday. Well, so first off, John, welcome to Duke by the River. How you feeling, man? I'm
feeling great. Thanks for having me on right now. I love it.
Dude, we love that kit you got on, by the way, man. So is it a blank or you got a name on the back?
This is blank. I'm going to get Glesnes on it, though, as I am known as his lookalike.
I can see it.
That's cool, man. So can you hit a 40-yard rocket as well?
I actually have. I've hit a 52 and I've hit a 50. I can put them on my Twitter, and I'll link that in here.
I would like to announce myself as official scout for Sporting Serotonin. Paul, if you're listening, we got ourselves the next Jakob Glesnes here. Justin would definitely appreciate that, as he likes to create from the back. But now, on all seriousness, John, first off, how long have you been a Union fan yourself?
So I've been a fan since 2012. So right after it was formed.
Very nice, very nice. And so, talk about your experience on Friday night, man. You have it's a great story to tell us here, man.
So it actually, I can start back in 2012, back when I was 6, 7 years old. I was at a soccer camp at Aston Soccer, and Gabriel Farfan was there. And my dad, who had been following the team from 2010, he had known who Farfan was. And he said, John, there's a professional soccer player. Go shake his hand. Go get an autograph, something like that. And I was so shy because, again, I'm only in like first or second grade. So my dad goes up, he talks to him, we introduce ourselves. And Gabriel says to me, he says, have you ever been to a game? And I said, no, I haven't. Because at the time I was a big Phillies and Sixers guy, wasn't really into soccer all that much. And he said, well, I'll leave 2 tickets under your name at the will call. And we played Chivas this weekend. So come out, support, we'll get you a jersey, blah, blah, blah. So we go to the game. And funny enough, it is one section over from where my current season tickets are. We sat in 112, and now I sit in 111. So it's just one of those weird coincidences. We never really thought about it up until Friday night when alumni night comes around and Gabriel Farfan's there. Now, back in 2019, we had the alumni night before COVID, and I met him there, and he didn't recognize me because, obviously I was a lot bigger, and I showed him a picture of me when I was 6 in my first game, which I wore a tie-dye shirt to with orange shorts. And he was like, oh, my God, I remember you. You were that kid from Aston. And, we called up, got a picture and everything. So, we see each other again. I get his autograph again Friday. And we're on the field for the warm-ups, and the lady comes up to me. She's like, you're John Nolik, right? And I said, yes. And she says, well, guess what? You're doing the first kick tonight. Come down pitch side, you and your family. You're going to get your name announced and all that. We go down there. I'm kicking the ball to Gabriel Farfan, which, it's like it came full circle. He's the reason I became a fan, and I started, my love for soccer. And, alumni night comes around, I'm kicking a ball to him. I'm making a pass to Gabriel Farfan, who's always been my hero.
Dude, it's like that Twitter trend. It's the how it started, how it's going. That's pretty much how that was your Friday night, man.
That was exactly what it was. And, 7 goals on top of it. I remember we dominated Chivas at the game I went to. It was like, how it started, where it's going.
There you go, man. That's literally full circle, man. What's do you know what Gabriel's up to these days, man? It was cool seeing him. Both the brothers there, right? On alumni. Yeah,
both the brothers were there. I think both of them are out in California. They do like home remodeling and stuff like that.
Oh snap! Farfan,
former players and real estate and home stuff like that's him.
Brian Carroll too.
Yeah,
right. Brian Carroll's a financial advisor, although in fairness, he looked like a financial advisor when he played here. So
that's very true. Funny story about that too is he helped John McCarthy with all of his money when he was still at Philly.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm good. Yeah, good friends with Johnny Mack too.
There you go. Brian's like, here, let me steal this ball. But when you're done your career, come talk to me. I got some financial advice for you. It's pretty funny.
That's exactly what happened, really.
Mike Thomas, Farfan Property Brothers. that is pretty awesome. John, it's funny you mentioned that because during those days, I really feel like I still to this day, like I think it still holds true, but especially during those days, like those guys were really trying to just make their mark in the community. At 2013, around that time, I was an assistant manager, Jersey Mike Subs here in Cherry Hill. Danny Cruz came in, and I was like the only one that recognized him in the restaurant. I was like, dude, you're Danny Cruz, right? And he was like, how do you even know who I am? I was like, well, first off, you're part of the Philadelphia, which I love, but I remember you when you were on TV's Made. You were doing a whole like remodeling of a person. It was an interesting show that they had back in the day. But Danny Cruz literally went into his trunk, left the restaurant, went to his trunk, brought me a calendar of the season. It was a big calendar they had back in the day, and he signed it for me, and I still remember it to this day. And like those, like during those times, I really, because obviously we were brand new to the city, those guys were really trying to make their mark. So it's definitely dope hearing those stories, especially as the generations grow up and this team grows older too. We're going to continue having those stories. So John, we really appreciate you telling us the story, man, because that's definitely a great one, man.
Yeah, it's like I said, when I was like 6 years old. I'm now 17, looking to play in college. So, it's crazy after 11 years. He still knows who I am.
But that's crazy how that is, John. Like the imprint that this team has had. Because think about it. Would you have been playing college soccer if it wasn't for falling in love with the sport, with the Union, and the Flar fan or Gabriel fan?
I really don't think I wouldn't. I think I probably would have stuck to baseball. I would have stuck to basketball. I wouldn't have played travel soccer. I wouldn't have started at Aston. I wouldn't be where I am now without them.
That is pretty sick, man. That is pretty sick. John, we really appreciate the story, man. John, real quick before we let you go, where are you going to watch the match tomorrow?
I will be watching right here in my room. I'll have it on my computer. I'll probably be in an Xbox party with a few of my buddies. We'll be watching together.
I'm a little jelly. That sounds pretty fun, man. Well, hey, you enjoy. Be safe, and of course, enjoy the match tomorrow, man. Appreciate you coming on, John.
Thank you, and I hope to be back soon.
Absolutely. We'll definitely work that out for sure. Thank you so much to John Nolick. And of course, if you want to tell us your experience, want to come on the show, and you want to give us your experience kind of like John, we're definitely open to it. You can DM Dupe by the River on Twitter, and we'll definitely work something out. But we really appreciate John coming on here. So seriously, thank you so much as well. The power of football. That's right. What's up, Zach? It's good seeing you in here, man. Absolutely, man. It's really strong with all of us here. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about the All-Star roster. Of course, it was announced here today, and of course, the notables are Andre Blake and Kai Wagner from us to make it. I want to ask, because I have my own opinion. Zach, you haven't been on it. First off, seen the roster.
Yes, I have.
Any initial thoughts?
Considering it's fan vote, I have no issue with any of it because that's just how it's always going to be. Is you're going to have guys who are more popular than other guys make the roster over maybe guys who deserve it more. If this was like execs and coaches and other players voting for it, then I'd probably have some questions. But with it being a fan vote, I have no issue with what's going on.
Okay. All right. What about you, Justin? Any thoughts on the MLS All-Star roster?
Yeah, I think I really only have one issue, and that is how on earth did Emmanuel Reynoso get voted in over Daniel Gostag? Was there enough of a ballot stuffing from the Minnesota fans to like I'm sorry, Minnesota is not having that great of a year. Reynoso's stats are pretty similar to Gostag's, and Gostag is absolutely one of the reasons why the Union are where they are at the moment. So, like, explain to me why he's like not even sniffing, that midfield. Like, I love Darlington Nagbe, but I mean, come on, Columbus isn't having that great of a year. Like, there's some players you go like, yeah, okay, Hani Mukhtar, Chicharito, yeah, you're good at Vela. Like, there's the guys like, yeah, the fans are going to vote those guys in, but some of them just go, really? Like, okay, sure.
I think for me, I agree. The Reynoso was a little bit surprising, but I kind of anticipated guys like not to make it, but Zelarayan didn't, and like. Look, I understand Columbus has been struggling a little bit, but I would have still put Zelarayan over Reynoso if I'm being honest. But like Zach said, it's a good point. I mean, it is fan voting, but fans are obviously going to vote for their guys, and that's understandable. But I guess the next question should be: should it change? Should it still be strictly fan voting, or should there be an execs or coaches implemented to it as well?
I feel like it should be a mix. I thought with some sports they've changed it to where it's, kind of like how the, I believe if it wasn't there, was it? I thought I remember seeing something like an awards or somewhere like, I know there's other sports that basically like kind of mixed it up. That like I think 100% fan voting is, I mean, yeah, it's an all-star game, but like I think the fan, like certain groups of fans, are going to like. I am amazingly shocked that Atlanta fans.
I just got a little update here.
Yeah, okay. Like, that's the thing. Like, so if coach and commish, like, where you tell me enough coaches thought Emmanuel Reynoso was playing better than like that's where I'm like, okay, if he was a coach's or commish pick, then I have a little more of a problem with it.
I mean, to me, the more criminal thing was the fact that you have like, listen, we can argue it, but there's no argument. The best center back duo in the MLS is by far Jakob Glazes and Jack Elliott, and yet none, not even one of them, made the roster.
Yeah,
And look,
Jack Elliott's been on the team of the week several times this year. Like he's a consistent. Like he's been, and I think he won what was it the mid year like defensive
Right.
year.
Right.
Like, so like, are you telling me that a guy, which I didn't even know that was an award, like that a guy who's playing that well wasn't either a fan or a commish pick, and now Mike says Kai and Andre were both fan picks. Yeah, like. I think also they definitely would have been there anyway because Andre is tied for the top of the league with Sean Johnson, who also made it with 8 clean sheets. And Kai is, I believe, I think third in assists with like 10 or whatever it is. Like he was just, it's okay. Reynoso was a coach pick. Like that drives me up the wall. Like, why? Like I can't understand it.
Yeah, I agree here with Mike. I would rather keep him fresh, but it's about the principle, right, Mike? It's about the principle. Like, to me, Glazes or Elliott are better than Miller, better than Long, and they should receive at least look, 13 goals allowed through 19 matches. I mean, that is freaking incredible.
I think they're on pace for like one of the lowest. I think
It'll be the lowest. They're on pace for the lowest 34 game season
since RSL was like 27, I think.
No, so RSL had 20 in 30. They conceded 20 goals in 30 games. The Union are on pace for, I think, like 23 or 24 in 34 and like 20.5 in 30.
Absolutely wild.
But we should at least, Mike, we should at least have the option to turn down the league. Be like, we want us too damn bad.
Too damn bad.
Also, if they're gonna have home field advantage, just make that the All-Star game like MLB does.
But
yeah, that's true.
Isn't it against Liga MX? I thought there was.
Well, that's what. Well, I think they should change it. Like the league's so big now.
What,
like
bring it back to East versus West? I would
Yeah.
have that. I love that.
Yeah.
That was. I remember that. That was it. I think that would. The league's big enough. You could do that now.
Yeah. Although I still think it should just be a neutral site final. But
I know, but based on the storyline, I mean, Liga MX versus MLS is kind of fun. But as I talked about earlier today in the Union Inter Miami match preview, like how long can you do MX versus MLS before it's like, all right, we're kind of bored with it. So we'll see.
That's kind of what the Leagues Cup is supposed to be, right? Like, I mean, they're pushing for it more and more.
That's another topic, man. But gentlemen, let's talk about the thrashing, an absolute thrashing that the Philadelphia Union put up against DC United. Same lineup, put up 7 stinking goals against DC United. You had a brace from Ali, Mikhail Ua. You had the first ever Julian Carranza hat trick, not only for the Union, but for his MLS career. And it was an absolute just clinic that they put on DC United. The question I want to ask you guys, was the performance legit, or did DC United just straight up lay a big fat old goose egg? Justin, how you feel?
I think both are absolutely true. Like, on the one hand, yeah, DC played literally one of the worst games that I've ever seen. Like, it's not even a question. It literally tied the most goals scored, in an MLS game, one of the largest, margins of victory in league history. Like, I that's not the, that is 100% accurate. But I also think if there's going to be any game for the team like the Union to kind of get the scoring juices flowing, it's a 7-0 ass whooping. So I think, we talked about it in our chat, in the weekend following. Like, I think absolutely both are true. It's a little bit of A, a little bit of B, because yeah, DC played like crap, but you got to take advantage of a team like that. Like that's kind of, like I said, that's what gets it going. And maybe, like I said, with 2 games this week, with really 6 points up for grabs, and I think 6 points that you can easily get, I think that is the right time to get the scoring juices flowing.
Absolutely. Jimmy over here is agreeing with Justin. Has to be the most forward-thinking game we've played so far from Jimmy King. Agreed, Jimmy. Zach, how did you feel about it? Did you feel the Union just masterclass, or just DC just laid the goose egg?
I agree with Justin and Jimmy. Like DC were horrible, like absolutely horrible. But the Union did. It looked like they were trying things that they like in a game like that. Normally, the Union's game plan is like, no, you suck, but you can still have the ball if you want to. Like you can have it, and we'll just beat you on the counter. But they didn't do that. They kept possession. They ended with 55% possession. That has to be the most they've had all season. Like it has to be.
I
by
think so.
probably like 20%. Like I don't think that.
For a possession battle, they won the season, I think.
Yeah, it has to be. And it just it shows that they're capable of playing in more than one way. Now, like I get it. If you're playing LA or you're playing NYCFC or Austin, maybe you do give them the ball and let them try and ping it around and make mistakes, and then you break on those mistakes. But when you're playing teams like Chicago, who we lost to because we didn't play like we did against DC, and Chicago stink, and I could not be happier about it because you know who's there and you know who I don't like. But it shows that they can play in different ways, and I think the most important thing was like they finished a decent amount of their chances. Harriel should have scored. I don't know how on earth you're a professional soccer player and you missed that chance.
He could have dribbled that thing.
I don't get it. I don't understand. And he could have passed it. Gazdag was there too. Like if you're gonna shoot it, you have to score. The missed PK, like they had even more chances, but they finished enough chances where it didn't matter what DC was. DC could have scored 4 and it wouldn't have mattered. The issue the Union have had prior to this game is they either create a bunch of chances and don't finish, or they just don't create a bunch of chances. And when you have those two things happening and you let the other team get the ball, maybe you do score 1 like the Union have been doing. They score 1, right? But you give the other team so many chances to get back in the game when you just let them have the ball over and over and over again that eventually something's going to give and a goal's going to squeak through, which has been the case. That's why we have so many draws this season, is because we just let other teams have the ball and they just get chance after chance after chance after chance, and we don't finish ours or we don't create enough. But against DC, it was like the perfect storm of like, oh, we're going to keep the ball and we're going to create a bunch of chances and we're going to score like 70% of those chances. So, I mean, it was a good night. It was certainly a good night.
And Zach, to your point about the possession, look, I love the style we have, right? It's worked. And at its best, it's really tough to stop. But there are moments when you have to change up the philosophy. You have to possess the ball. And I think that's important that they kind of nail that down. That's why I think this match on Friday was a great confidence booster that showed, like, look, you guys can attack the ball. Like, forget about what's in front of you. You guys can do this. Now, keep it up and keep the ball rolling, and the confidence will build as well. Real quick, Mike has a good point. Paxton looked good as a sub, may have been the best he's looked in an extended period of time. What do you guys think about Paxton in this was like 30 minutes came in?
Yeah, Paxton looked really, I mean, one of the first chances, he just started like he just took it straight down the heart of the DC defense and created chances. Like there was a few chances, like there was one moment I think he had like 2 shots in a row blocked. And I like one of them, they deflected away for a corner, and we're screaming, "How could you do this? He's just a child." And it's just like, like he absolutely looked dangerous. And I know people are saying, "Oh, he should be getting time." It's like, well, look at the person whose direct position he's behind. Daniel Gazdag is having an absolutely phenomenal season, and I don't think it's bad to say in this season, you know what, Paxton, we want you as a change of pace creative guy. Give him, 25 minutes and just go out there and see what the hell you can create, what the hell you can do. And you saw that. Like, it was already 6-0 at that point, and he just keeps going and going and going. Like, the DC defense, I'm sure, was just fed up at this point that, like, dude, we are getting murdered, and you just throw on, the little engine that could, the kid that the Energizer Bunny, the kid that just doesn't stop moving. Like that to me just, says how deep this team is, even though we've talked about bringing in players. Like, well, we do have some good options, and it showed that while the U20s were away, you were missing them.
Yeah, you really were. One thing I want to talk about, guys, real quick. There was a monumental moment in the second half. Obviously, the Union were awarded a penalty kick off of a handball, and so what ensued was a little bit of a discussion. I guess we can put it in polite terms. You had what was like Carranza, you had Brujo. I think Corey Burke was in the mix as well, all just discussing who was going to take the PK. Now, in hindsight, it was a bad look. But I mean, obviously, we heard after, thanks to Brotherly Game, with the report that Brujo had plans of scoring a goal off the penalty kick and showing a shirt that was under his jersey in light of obviously Sergio Santos getting transferred. But Julian obviously missed the PK and obviously raises the question now, like, who should be our regular PK taker? And I kind of want to hear you guys' thoughts on the situation. Who should be the PK taker, essentially? Zach, what do you think, man?
Well, I think Gazdag is the guy, but he was not on the field during that time, and would probably be the next guy, and he also wasn't on the field at that time. But I think so. My thought process is, even if Gazdag is on the field, he's giving that PK to either Ua or Carranza, because both of them are on hat tricks, and that's the order it goes in. I don't care if Brujo has. Like he could have had the nicest thing ever written to Sergio on his shirt. I don't care. You can show the cameras after the game when you win 7-0. You don't need to take the PK away from a forward who hasn't scored in a couple games and who you want to have their confidence up. You scoring a goal isn't going to change things. I don't care like what you say. He was so wrong for doing that. Like so wrong, because in my opinion, I think that's why Carranza missed, was because of all the precursor to him taking the PK. Brujo was getting in his head. Then he had to have Ali come in and be like, no, Brujo, like, Carranza's taking it. Like, he's on a hat trick. Like, let him take it. And then, I didn't even see this, but apparently Brujo asked to be taken off after that and was, like, arguing with Ali going off the field. That's just not a good look. Like, you can have all the praise for Brujo you want. Like, that's fine. Like, he's not my cup of tea. Like, I get that he does some things well, but some things he does just grind my gears, man. He's not the type of six he's not the type of six that I look for. But that instance, just I was very much fed up with the fact that, like, I was like, you can't do that. You can't do that. When you're 20, Carranza's what, 21? He's 21 years old.
That's crazy. He does not look 21.
No, he does not. He looks like a 26-year-old man. You're going to take a PK away from a kid who's on a hat trick. Like, that's insane to me. Insane to me. But Gazdag's the main PK taker. That's to answer your first question.
As it should be. Yeah. Justin, you had some interesting thoughts before we went on the air. What'd you feel about the situation?
Yeah, like I definitely felt the same way. Like, Brujo's antics, I definitely think, like, you could be as cool with customer as you are, but with Brujo doing what he did, like, he stood on the ball and was just like, waiting. It's like Carranza walked up and was just like he was ready to take it in that moment, and then Brujo was kind of being petulant, and I love Brujo's antics, but not in that moment. Like, yeah, dude, Gazdag would have been one, but he's not good. Yeah, Zach's right. Like, you defer if someone's on a hat trick, you defer to one of them. Mm-hmm. And it probably would have gone Gazdag, Ua, and then Carranza. And I get it. Yeah, you had a touching thing to Sergio. It's like, great. But yeah, you could show that, like, in celebrating the goals or after the game or as you're walking on. Like, there's a lot of other moments to show that. So, and you scoring the goal is not going to be as important as Carranza or getting a hat trick. Like, I just think it was kind of silly and kind of childish for a guy who antics are good on the field, but in that moment, like, dude, just give the ball up. Like, why are you even approaching the spot at that point?
Like, why does Ali even have to come over and, like, take the ball away from you? Like that should never happen.
And for someone who's trying to get sold over to Mexico or Italy or wherever it may be, that's not a good look. And I think what Jimmy and what Mike are saying here in the comment section, it's all about focus. What's the bigger picture at hand? Is it to score a goal and have a nice little celebration, or is it to get the dub and add some more points into your tally and move forward towards the playoffs? So, these are the things that we're battling with El Brujo, and hopefully El Brujo can figure this out, man, because he is a talented player and he's important for what we try to do for sure. But gentlemen, this was a very impressive performance. And now the Union, look, it's great, but now you got to keep the ball rolling. What happened on Friday is now in the past, and now you got to try to replicate that performance. It's going to be a tough one. We're facing off against Inter Miami tomorrow. And of course, guys, we're to preview today's Inter Miami preview. We have on a very special guest. So excited to introduce to you guys from Football Miami TV. Please welcome Mr. Peter Brown. How are you? What's going on? Welcome.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Dude, we're doing great, man. It's truly an honor to have you on, Peter. Listen, we were talking off the air. I remember when Inter Miami was coming into the league, and then I found this YouTube channel, Football Miami TV, and I'm like, wow, these Miami fans already started. They're not even in the league. They have a YouTube channel, and it's great to see. Peter, kind of tell us a little about yourself and Football Miami TV for those who do not know who you guys are here in Philly.
Yeah, so it was started by myself and my co-host Uncle Ed, and basically we're two guys that have been following South Florida soccer for many years. We go back to the Miami Fusion,
the Fusion days.
Yeah, we were season ticket holders for the Fusion. Gutted when we lost the team. Ed was out there picketing, complaining about losing the team, and then from then on, we started doing just an audio only podcast where we were talking about the Fort Lauderdale Strikers or the lower level, but meanwhile always working towards trying to bring MLS to Miami. And we were also very involved with the supporters club Southern Legion, and so we're kind of like the godfathers of that group. We've stepped away since because we're too old. But at some point we decided to move it to video so you could see this pretty face.
Look, we got some love here. Kala Peter Brown, one of the founding fathers of Miami. Wait, Kala. Wait, first
I wouldn't go
Kala.
that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Wait, so the thing is, Kala, we do see Kala here all the time. So you must be all over the MLS podcast. We love that, Kala. That's awesome. And of course, we have. Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm used to jumping in all the time because I'm normally the host,
good.
Right? So. So shut me up anytime you want. But no, that's one of the great things about these kind of channels. And I think every MLS team needs to have one of these. They're not that hard to start. You just need to have a little bit of software and some commitment. Really, that's it. And what I've found, though, is that we have a lot of listeners, a lot of viewers that are from fans of Atlanta, fans of Toronto. We've got somebody out in Arizona, people in LA, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So seeing that one of our local, our diehards like Kata in your show, like week in, week out, not surprised. People want this kind of content.
Absolutely. We got one world, one goal. Fellow Colombian, Cuo Parce, what's going on? Jose Velasquez checking on in, another Peter fan here. That's awesome. We definitely love to see that. So Peter, look, I can't not start talking about Inter Miami without obviously the big signing for you guys. Very familiar to the league, Alejandro Pozuelos, 2020 MLS MVP. What is the initial reaction in Miami right now? How you guys feeling about Pozuelos?
Everybody's pretty happy, I think. We need a playmaker. We can't score very many goals because our forwards have to come back way too much. Carranza's having Carranza. He was one of ours who couldn't get the ball, right?
You can thank your FO for that one.
Right. So he was top of mind because you guys have him now and he's doing well for you, to say the least. But Campana, similar name. He's having to track back quite a bit. Higuain, he's always tracking back, but he's worthless.
That's true.
True. Very true.
So we need that number 10. And I know Pozuelo's had a bit of a down year, more recently, but put him hopefully in the right system. Hopefully we are the right system, and he could feed her forward. So I think everybody's pretty happy about it.
Yeah, it felt like this season with Bradley in that 4-3-3, they were kind of like he's a central attacking mid. He's
right.
He pulls the strings from the middle, and you saw him out wide. And Toronto has kind of a rebuilding. Like they have those young players, and it's just
they're going Italian.
Yeah,
Full
but
Italian.
say Little Italy up in Toronto, but
Emphasis
like
on the
low
little.
key, just like for the value that you got him, and I know it's because he was on the last year of a deal, and like that kind of allocation money is low even for a former MVP. It's like, okay, like now maybe the pieces could finally start clicking for Miami. It's a solid move.
Exactly what your person is saying here. Low risk. I mean, we get to try him out for half a year and see if they should offer him a new contract. And everything he says is he wants to stay in MLS. Heck, he wanted to stay in Toronto. So he may be motivated to re-sign. So that's good. So we'll see. There's been plenty of players that have come here that we thought were going to be amazing. Higuain, Pizarro, Matuidi, go on and on and on, Pellegrini. And they all were not. And some of that could be the system. Some of it could be the coaching. Some of it's just the wrong players with the wrong player combination. So this is a great way to just try him out because we don't know. It may not fit. The pieces may not fit, but hopefully they do.
And Peter, it kind of does feel like, because look, right now you guys are 4 points behind Cincinnati for the final spot in the playoffs. It kind of feels like you guys are trying to do your effort to make the playoffs this season, which I kudos to you guys. I mean, from what I'm watching Miami, it's clear you guys need someone to kind of feed the forward line, and Pozuelo possibly could be that guy. So kudos to you guys. It's gonna be tough. You got New England, you got Columbus, Cincy. It's tough.
But Johnny, think about that statement. That Miami is 4 points behind Cincinnati for the playoff spot. Like we talked about this all year. The MLS this year is just, we've been so wrong with a number of our predictions outside of like the top four.
Oh, not Zach.
No, wait, hold on. My top four is solid right now, dude. My top four is solid right now.
Listen, the Jordy effect is to be real because Montreal's starting to slip a little.
They'll be fine. Don't worry.
But it's like beginning of the year, if either of you had said, "Oh yeah, we'll be behind Cincinnati for a playoff spot," you kind of would have looked at yourself and gone, No way. Like, not even remotely.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati has been the butt of all jokes in the MLS for several years. So you would always say, well, at least we're not as bad as Cincinnati.
Well, Peter, now we've been joking around with Cincinnati even more because obviously now they are the Cincinnati Union.
All they needed was a little Philly to be Cincy.
Mm-hmm.
They even adopted the cheesesteak. That's the Skyline cheesesteak is a real thing out there.
Oh God, don't. John, I think I just throw up in my mouth a little. That is not a good combination there.
One role, one goal. We appreciate you. Love your coach, Jim Curtin, great guy. Played in the same era, friend of Diego Serna. Okay, gonna be a tough game. Absolutely. How's Gary Neville been? Peter, we have had Alex Winley, who's a reporter from. I don't know if you're familiar. Does a great job. So she gave us her point of view of Phil Neville. How you feeling about Phil Neville in his second season here?
Yeah, so it's okay. You start to wonder, like, how much is the coach's fault and how much is just the player picks, and we blew out our first coach maybe a little too early. Brought in Phil, and Phil wasn't well equipped either, and he's learning on the job. So I think that's the biggest thing is he had to learn on the job. And so he wasn't really ready for the position, but they gave it to him anyways, nepotism type of thing. But the team is playing better this year. And so how much is it Phil Neville and how much is it Chris Henderson putting the right pieces in place? Because you got the right pieces. You don't need to do a whole lot of coaching. You just got to make the right substitution at the right time on game day. That is, and sometimes he does that. Sometimes he doesn't do that either, but I think he's okay. I think he deserves more time. Even if we don't do well this year, as long as we don't finish last or near, if we're close to making the playoffs, I'd say he's probably back next year. But, there's people calling for his head after every single loss. I mean, you thought the sky had fallen after this last 1-0 loss on a freak kind of accident by Damian Lowe.
That was rough, man.
Yeah, because that was a pretty even game. I mean, the first half I think was really even. Second half, Orlando was a little bit better, but that was just a freak play. And so that happens, and then everybody's like, it's the coach's fault. Fire the coach. Fire Neville. It's like, wait a minute. That's not his fault. It's not even Lowe's fault. It just happened.
Does Inter Miami fans have a hashtag yet? Because that was the consensus back in like 2016 here in Philly.
Yeah, Curtin comes up every now and then.
And Curtin's one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, I know, he's sometimes underappreciated, but I mean, before Curtin, Philly was a joke. Philly wasn't that good either.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were.
So he made you guys a contender every single year now. And I'm sure it's not him alone, but
no, Ernst probably gets maybe a little bit more credit than Jim does.
Oh yeah, Ernst. I mean, listen, the fact that we talked about Matej Oravets, a $1.1 million signing who never touched the first team, and is got mutually terminated in an announcement that got dumped into the bottom of the Jack DeVries transfers to Venezia. Like the fact that he's hit on this, him and Jim have a pretty good understanding of what players need to fit their system.
That's a good point, Peter, because the patience the club had and would Jim become the manager we see today. And for a lot of these clubs, obviously you have the pressure of obviously, the fans and winning in general. So it's kind of tough to be that patient with some of these managers. And, who knows what some of these managers would have been if they would have had, if the FO would have had a little bit of patience there.
Yeah. In South Florida, I think Philly's the same. I mean, Philly's, at least outside of Philly, I've always heard just how terrible you guys are as sports fans. I mean, not terrible as in that you don't support your teams. You support them maybe hardcore, maybe too much, right?
Yeah.
Whereas down here, it's maybe the opposite, right? I mean, we have some very fickle sports fans, but they will turn on you very, very quickly, which I know you guys are familiar with up there. But yeah, they're very, very fickle sports fans down here, and they don't stand for losing. Everybody comes from some other country down here where their soccer is the best. Whether you're from Colombia, which I'm familiar with, I go there a lot, or I go to Medellin every 3-4 months. Or if you're from my wife from Brazil or Ecuador. I mean, now Ecuador's not that great, but we do have an Ecuadorian player, and my co-host is Ecuadorian. But you get my point. Everybody here is knows everything, and they know better than everybody. You sit in the stadium, and everybody's better than the coach, and they're better than every player on the field. So it's a tough fan base, and coaches don't get a lot of time, and then when they probably need it.
Boludo, si fuera el River Plate, este técnico sería fuera.
Look, I go to Colombia, but I don't speak Spanish. Sorry.
I mean, hey, listen, I've seen how tough the fans are through several soccer chats. I've seen some of the infighting with with some of the supporters groups. It's like, man, if you guys are that tough on each other, I can't imagine how tough you guys are on the team.
Just to give you a little background on supporters beef, it all started with Southern Legion. There was one group, and then everybody feels like they could do it better, or you're not doing it right, or so it splinters off one way. So then it splinters into Vice City is now another group, and a very strong one. And then there's another splinter that becomes the Siege, and it all started with one group, and even that one group can't stay together long enough to be infighting across the board everywhere. Just South Florida it's tough.
It's all over the league, trust me, Peter.
Yeah,
it's all over the league. I do like this, Peter. Look at that. Kada putting in the sponsors. Go to Canes merch, by the way, people. I love that, Kada.
That's how we drilled it into everybody's head.
Yeah.
Go to Caneswear for all your Inter Miami gear, even when you're in Philly. You can go to caneswear.com, right?
There you go. I like that.
That's funny.
The black and the pink. I like that. We got Ed. Is this your co-host? Ed?
It is. It is.
That's not bad. What's happening, man? Vamos Inter. He's got his already prediction out there. We're gonna get Peter's
Oh,
in just a little
jeez.
bit.
My
Five
God.
Well, that is
Inter.
for the league's best defenses. That is a bold statement.
He's just poking the bear.
5 is 3. 5 would be. 5
Hey,
would be
Good vibes always, Ed. Good vibes
more than a
always, man.
third more than the Union have given up all season.
He's just poking the bear.
All right, guys. So I want to bring this back to the Union side here. So Justin, for you, look, do you have any feeling or any fear that the Union could be smelling themselves? Because look, that was a great performance. Everything was clicking, and now you got to travel down. It's probably going to be hot as all heck
I have
down in
no
Miami.
idea. You have no idea how hot it is.
Do you think they'll smell themselves a little bit, Justin?
No, I think we talked about it. Like, yeah, you pumped 7 into arguably one of the worst defenses in the league. So that's going to get the scoring, the scoring juices flowing. But I think you look at, how you guys, played Miami last time. And let's be honest, the Union should have won that game. That game was a dull affair on all accounts. Draws are typically like, okay, yeah, it's a point, but it's like that game was just boring from every account. And I think the Union should look into this and going, listen, you've got midweek this game against Miami. You've got on Saturday against a decent New England team. I think a team that's kind of still trying to figure themselves out. So, like I said, there's 6 plays up in the air, and I think you look at it compared to the last 2 game window you had with Chicago and Columbus, and unlike that, you've got a pretty much a full roster. And I think if you're Jim, you go, okay, the last time we went into a situation like this, we played insanely poor against a very poor team, and then grinded out a draw on the road. Now it's like, okay, you got 1 on the road and 1 at home. I think Jim always kind of plays for the draw away, but I think he's going to be realistic and go, yeah, we're not going to pump 6 past Miami. Like, obviously you're going to be playing a much better team. So no, I think they're going to understand that this is a bit tougher of a matchup.
Absolutely. Zach, I hate that loan rule that we have, man, because I would love to see Carranza facing off against his former.
I mean, it's only $500,000.
I mean,
$500,000,
what it sounded like when Jim said in the press conference was like they probably could trigger it like now. Like that's what it sounded like. He said like we always talk about it and like he can't play at this moment, but that could change. And I was like, that sounds like they could trigger that if they really wanted to. But I don't know. Maybe they just like want to give him rest and don't want to have the and they want to have the excuse of like, oh, he's not allowed to play, so he's gonna rest. But yeah, it does suck a little bit that he can't play. But at the same time, I think it leaves the door open for Quinn or Pax to start. I hope it's not Corey.
No, it's gonna be Corey. It's gonna be Corey.
I hope it's not Corey.
No,
man.
yeah.
But if it isn't Corey, like we were talking about when you guys were talking about Paxton, like Paxton's the only guy on the team, maybe Quinn, who is willing to and capable of taking someone off the dribble. I don't think there's anyone else on the team that can really do it, like craftily, like Paxton can, and with the pace that Paxton has, which is probably why the Union are looking at that. Is he Czech or Polish or
Czech?
Oh,
he's Czech.
Yeah.
Volkanova. I think that's how you say
it.
So yeah, that's probably why they're looking at him. They probably won't bring anyone in, but because it's the Union. But yeah, I think that the loan rule kind of will be good for the Union because it'll hopefully allow us to see one of the young kids in like a starting role in a hostile environment against a team that we're not, like you said, we're not going to pump 7 past them. I think it's going to be a tough game given the heat and all that stuff.
I mean, just run Corey out there for 50, 60 minutes and have the kids just with some tired legs just tack into Miami.
Start Quinn and then bring Pax on. That's what I want to see.
But the problem is Jim likes to play him as a shuttler. Like, I get it, he can play that, but I just think he's better suited as a
well, I think he's a winger. Like Quinn's definitely a winger.
Well,
Yeah, Quinn can play as a shuttler, but
you're gonna have to fafa him.
He is the wide kind of that like Timo Weah, like wide, but can also play centrally.
He's like how it's like how Salah and Mane play winger for Liverpool. Like that's how he plays winger for the U20s. Yeah.
Okay. Peter, do you or how do you feel about Inter Miami allowing Carranza to come here on loan, and then you guys obviously going for Campagna? Wouldn't you rather keep Carranza instead of going after Leonardo?
At the time, no. Carranza looked like a bust at the time. He was hurt a lot, and when he did get on the field, he didn't do much. So, what this shows is what with the right coaching staff and the right players surrounding you, how that can change a player, because he looked like a bust. And so at that point I was saying he can go. And it's been better to loan him outside of the league, but beggars can't be choosers. We also needed to free up some money because we cheated and got caught. And so
you're not the Galaxy.
Nothing wrong with a little cheating here and there.
Well, see,
how is it not the Galaxy, man?
I'd like the Union to try and cheat a little bit more, to be honest.
Well, at least we tried, right? At least we tried.
Exactly. I'd like the Union to try.
The difference is, with the Galaxy and stuff, what I've learned is cheating is fully legal in MLS as long as MLS is in on it. Mm-hmm. As long as you allow them to be part of the cheat, they will bend the rules and change them for your benefit if they really buy into the reasons behind it. Trust me, they wanted Inter Miami to come out of the gate strong. It was good for the league. David Beckham's team, footprint into South America, having a team in this southern part of the country. They wanted Inter Miami coming out swinging the glitz and the glamour that the kind of the LA of the East or whatever, and as far as soccer. So they wanted it, and it failed. So
come on, you can't cheat without cutting old Don in on the action. Like, come on.
And that's where they screwed up. They
didn't let him know. Beckham was not aware of the procedure that has to go on before the cheating happens.
Right.
Come on, you gotta kiss the Garber ring.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how it works.
Speaking of glitz and glamour,
that's what the allocation money's for. You suck up enough, you get enough funny money.
Yeah.
Speaking of glitz and glamour, how many Messi jerseys have you been seeing in the or Messi kits have you been seeing in the stands these days?
Oh, well, in South Florida, you see Messi everywhere you go. You go to the malls down here.
He's already the mayor.
He's already the biggest selling jersey in South Florida. So you slap Messi on a pink shirt, and now we're talking. And on top of that, he's got his deal with a Hard Rock. So he's down here from time to time doing promotional things for the Hard Rock. Now his colors with the Hard Rock are purple, so that's a problem. But
okay,
he's got a line of like clothing and things like that are in the Hard Rock store that it's got the lions on it and stuff, but it's like purple and gold, so it's the wrong color scheme. Got to get him to change that. But yeah, if he ever comes here, and MLS will create and bend all rules to make that happen.
Rules. Maybe they will for another Argentinian too. I heard Dybala needs a club. And,
who's a bigger pull in Miami? Messi or Neymar? Because there's
James,
big Brazilian population in South Florida.
Messi.
I mean, sure. Messi's a bigger pull everywhere.
Yeah,
I think even in Brazil, Messi's a bigger pull than Neymar. and I love Neymar, but that's true.
But the Brazilians don't always love Neymar. The Brazilians are the hardest on their own players.
Yeah, man.
I think Brazilians need to realize that Neymar's not playing with Kaká and R9 and all those guys like Ronaldinho was. He's playing with Joe and Fred up top for the last 10 years of his career, and they need to cut him a little bit of slack.
Peter, let me ask you on this current squad, because I do hear what's going on, and you guys are doing a great job with the youth academy. I mean, Romeo Beckham is freaking going viral on social media with this beautiful free kick. So it's clear you guys are trying to kind of similarly build to kind of how we did it with the youth academy. So on this current squad that's here right now in 2022, what are some pieces for the future?
Well, the guy that I'm the happiest about this year that's young, he's not from the academy. We got him from LAFC, but that's Bryce Duke. I mean, he's been great. Now, of course, he's gonna end up on the bench once Pozuelo comes in. But for now, while we're getting the green card stuff figured out, he's just been amazing on the field. You got Noah Allen, who's gotten a little bit of playing time. He's now mostly with Inter Miami too, but he's real promising coming up. And then there's who knows if Romeo ever gets in. I'm curious because the everybody screaming nepotism will be the loudest ever. But if the kid can perform, and then there's Harry Neville's on that team as well, and he's played okay, and everybody thought he would have gotten signed to the first team this year, but I mean there's like green card issues with him as well. So
typical, yeah, man. I listen. We know that very well here in Philly, right, guys? Oh my God, I did not know Diego Alonso was with Uruguay. I did not know this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's you didn't watch the friendly and see him sneak in an extra sub and Berhalter go absolutely ballistic. Oh,
that was funny. That was
a wild moment.
And that's just another example of kind of something that we look at like kind of a Carranza type of thing where it didn't look like it was the right fit down here. It wasn't working down here. Alonso, we all blamed him. He wasn't doing a good job, and here he is taking a team to the World Cup. Now, of course, Uruguay's a very different quality of players than what we had. So,
all right, Peter, we need these empanadas, man. Okay, listen, between Justin and I, we could probably crush like 50 empanadas.
Oh yeah, easily. God, I miss the spot I used to work at in North Philly. It was a Tierra Colombiana right around the corner.
There you go.
Oh man, I could go for some empanadas right now.
So on our show, we talk soccer, but we get off the rails all the time. And food is the number one thing that can derail the entire show. And we had this conversation. Where do the best empanadas come from?
Oh my God.
That's a great
debate
topic.
Because I mean, I've had on a regular basis, I've had the ones in Colombia. I haven't. It's work related, and so they'll every Friday they have empanadas in there, and so we'll get some of those. And there's like the more fried empanadas, very good. A little tough on the stomach though, as you get in the 50s. But then in the Argentina
50,
I'm 50. I'm 53.
There's no way you are 53, Peter.
Yes, sir.
That Florida sun, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it's good for you. Good for you. It looks like Zach needs a little bit of it.
I do. I know. Hey, that is 100% true. I am a pasty guy. But it doesn't change. Like I could get as much sun as you, but it'll just turn red and then turn white again. Like there's no in between for me. It's really
I get a perpetual farmer's tan. So
yeah.
Oh no, Justin.
But I tan very easily.
The forearms and the neck are always tan, always. But everything else is not.
So you just got to come down to South Florida. Everybody's got a pool. You're out in the backyard every weekend. Eating some empanadas, drinking some beer or whatever, just chilling out. You'll get there.
Yeah, once I get an adult job, maybe I'll move down there and finally get a tan once I'm like 30.
Yeah. Everybody moves down here. So when you get tired of shoveling the snow or whatever you do up there.
Yeah. We don't like the snow. We do not like the snow.
I've only seen the snow once, and it was just because I went to Denver for like 24 hours, and that was it.
You're not missing much. Missing much.
Awesome stuff. All right, guys, let's get to the nitty gritty of this, gentlemen. So I want to get your line of prediction. Look, this is 2 matches in 1 week, so we'll start with you, Zach. Do you anticipate any changes? And obviously, who do you think replaces Carranza?
All right. I have a weird feeling Bizo might start. Don't know why.
It's not a crazy thought.
I have a weird feeling Bizo might start just because it's midweek. Might want to give Harry a little rest. That might happen. Center backs will stay the same. Kai's going to play. Martinez probably plays, I would assume. Maybe, like, I don't know how pissed Jim was with him after his antics. Maybe he, like, sits him for a half and Leon plays there or something. Well, let's just say Martinez starts. Then Leon would be on the left. Bedoya. This feels like a rest day for Bedoya. It feels like a rest day. So
What
let's
about
say
bring him off the bench, Zach?
that would be fine. I just think
I would
it's
love to
like
see
not
that.
I just think it's not a 90-minute day for Bedoya. You know what I mean? Like I think it's like a 30-minute day for Bedoya, maybe like a 25. So let's say that Quinn starts at that spot. You got Gaz at the 10, and then I'm gonna probably unfortunately say Corey and Ua up top.
Okay. What about you, Justin? Do you agree?
I'm not sure about the only thing in the back line is the Bizo. I mean, I could see it. Like, I think
I just have a weird feeling. There's no rationality behind it. I have a weird feeling that it's going to happen.
I mean, I guess with a team like Miami, you could, like, I feel like you could get away with his lack of defensive coverage
as a defender. That's kind of crazy.
Well, that's the thing. He is a modern fullback. He is the epitome of the. He is the.
He's
Trent
a modern
Alexander
winger. He's a
Arnold.
winger, dude. Trent
He's
at least defends better than him.
He's a guy that can get forward, but is terrible defensively. And I feel like a road game might be the. I mean, you say it might be the time he did it with Chicago, and I mean he wasn't terrible. He wasn't the reason they gave up the goal. So I could see it for midweek. I think in the midfield, I mean, I don't know if Curtin would actually bench Brujo for that. I mean, I definitely think he had a stern talking to during that because those antics were kind of childish. Leon on the left. I could see Ali getting the rest at least for a half. So I'm not sure about that. You know, about his side. I mean, at that point it would probably be Quinn or Pax. I think either would suffice as a shuttler. Your guys like up top. I mean, like I said, it was obviously still a crime that he didn't get in the All-Star game. But hey, you know, when he wins MVP or is hoisting the MLS cap, well, you know, he'll be showing them. And up top, I think Uwa is going to get his 60, 65 minutes, which at this point he's still building towards full fitness. Especially in that heat, I don't think you want to push him any farther than that. And then Michael, I mean, maybe even throwing on Donovan. Like, I feel like that might be a change of a change of pace. So, like, I mean, against Columbus, I thought Donovan actually was creating some solid runs. So, I'd be curious to see him and Uwa up top together.
Zach's got a message for you. Corey about to have the game of his life. I'm telling myself.
It's a lie. I'm telling myself.
That is absolutely. I mean, listen, we still have time. Are we sure that Montreal doesn't believe that he will play better and that we can get Mason Toye in return? Like, you know, he is a Montreal killer.
Bring Mason Toye home, dude. Mason Toye's local.
Exactly. Listen, bring him home. Just give him Corey.
He played for a team in Jersey. I played against him all the time.
Listen,
Jersey.
Listen, Corey will love all the smoked meats and the poutine
and the cold winters.
Exactly.
And cold summers.
Just let him enjoy Quebec.
I really do hope Harriel starts. I was watching a little bit of that Miami Orlando match. Ruan had some great runs on that right side against Miami, and I would love to see Harriel take advantage of that. But we'll see what the lineup entails. But Peter, what do you think? Look, Miami has shown a lot of different looks this season. Mm-hmm. What do you think Miami will look like this upcoming tomorrow night? And what do you think the lineup will be?
I think it'll be pretty similar to what you saw in Orlando. You might see Vasilev out with Ariel Lassiter. They kind of flip-flop whoever the coach feels a little hotter that week, I guess. And probably see in the center defense Mabika sit and I would at least put Ryan Saylor in. But other than that, I think it's probably the same lineup. We're going to have Duke in there, Gregory and Mata. in the midfield, trying to make it difficult for you guys. But Campana has to have a stellar game. It has to be one of the best games. He's got to carry the team on his back a little bit. But I think Vasilev, other than a couple of games ago where he scored, a couple goals, he's been down a little bit. So I'd like to see Ariel in there. He'll do a million step overs, and a couple of them will work and beat you guys, right? So and get hopefully a decent cross or two.
What's rough, Peter? So I'm sure you saw the All-Star game roster is announced, and congratulations, DeAndre Yedlin. But they did not put in
Campana should have been in there. Campana should have been in there.
Well, Elliot nor Glazes made it, and so I'm predicting that they're going to be a little motivated tomorrow night in Miami. So we'll
are you saying there might be a chance of the Thunder God Glaznes calling down a strike from downtown?
About to bring that tsunami down to Miami, man, or that hurricane down to Miami.
And we get enough of those. We get enough of them. But yeah, our hope is definitely to use the humidity on our side tomorrow night.
That's gonna be key.
Dying, and it doesn't always work though. There's some games that I've seen where I thought, this team should be dying at this point, and they're not. But hopefully we're using the humidity to our advantage, using the right subs at the right time, because it should drain you guys.
I mean, but the Union are one of the best conditioned teams in the league. They have been for a few seasons.
I'm not going to come on here and say like, Ed, it's 5-1. It's going to be a tough game.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping we can squeak out a win, but I'm fully prepared for a loss. But nothing. I don't think it would be anything embarrassing like what happened to DC United.
No, not even close. Not even close.
I could see, a 1-0 loss or potentially a 2-1 win. It really, Miami, it really does depend on how well they're clicking, and is Campana like having one. Like, I mean, he's always good, but is he getting the ball? Is how well is he Bryce Duke connecting with him, and do we make any stupid defensive mistakes? Because that's generally how we give away a game. It's not so much that the other team is better than we are, it's that we fall asleep for a minute or a freak accident. I can't talk about Lowe's issue, but in general, they'll fall asleep for a second, and the other team will score, and then we can't get back into it. So
okay, did you give us your prediction? Did I hear that?
I kind of give you two. I'm going to go with 2-1 Inter Miami.
Okay, 2-1 Inter Miami. All right, so this is a Union podcast, so we want to know, what is the key for the Union to beat Inter Miami from your perspective as a Miami fan?
High press. You high press on Inter Miami, and they don't know what to do. Exactly. It works. I've seen it. I can't remember all the teams that have done it, but I've seen it several times this year. You put pressure on our defense. They make mistakes, and you guys can capitalize on it. I mean, that's really it. Just constant pressure, because sometimes we're coasting, and that's one of the biggest issues I think we all have with, say, Higuain, is that he's coasting way too much, doesn't press at all, and just kind of walking around the field a lot. So I'm hoping we've seen the last of him. At least, he may come in as a sub, but no more starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think, was it Red Bull? We talked about the pressing system. Red Bull did a pretty good job of that coming down. So yeah, that definitely could be an issue for that back line. And I've seen enough national team games to know DeAndre Yedlin is not as fast as he used to be. Those legs are still there, but a step or two slower.
Yeah, I would agree. But generally, I mean, the issues haven't been, I wouldn't say they've fallen on him this year. So he's not really so much the issue. It's generally the center backs and or maybe some miscommunication with a young goalkeeper at times. But it's generally it. Or sometimes, we just let players walk through the midfield and they're not challenged enough. But that's generally when Gregory's not playing. And if he's playing, we have a good chance of breaking up some plays.
Okay. Zach, prediction and a key for you to win?
I think it's going to be 1-0 Philly. And I think the key to the game is going to be trying again to keep the ball like they did against DC. Like, try and outpossess Miami best you can. Don't give them more chances than they should have already by just giving the ball away for defending counter sake. And I know you're in a hostile environment, but you're right now, what, second in the table? So realistically, you're on paper at least a better team than Miami. So go out there and take the game to them and try and dominate where you can, finish your chances, and hopefully they come away with that 1-0 win.
And,
Okay,
and let me real quick. You said hostile environment. Don't worry, the environment is not going to be that hostile. We're having a hard time filling the stadium these days since we haven't been very good.
All right, hot and humid environment. Hot and humid. The humidity is the hostile part.
Yes. The humidity is your enemy. Yeah, it's not that hostile as far as the fan support. It's waning, unfortunately.
What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I think midweek games, especially for whatever reason, I don't know what we did to piss off Garber that we get the away games in Florida in literally the middle of July every fucking year. Like it is without hesitation. Like every time it's always in July. It's like, I have a friend that lives in Orlando. It's like, oh, come down to any of the games. I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming down to Florida in the middle of the summer. Like, yeah, I do not do humidity well, and I'm sure most teams don't do humidity well in that environment. So it's going to be a slog fest. And I think all the Union's road games they always have been, even in the past few years where the Union have become a better road team. These are the kind of games. I think Zach's right. It's going to be a 1-0 Union victory. It's going to be an ugly goal. It's going to be something, it could come off of a broken play, turnover in midfield, and the Union just pounce on it. I would love to see a little more possession, even though, it has worked at times with the system we use, but I think you also saw with DC, like the amount of attacking opportunities we had was, I think, exponentially, increased by the fact that we were able to be a lot more selective, and then those chances just kind of came down to us. So, but it is Miami. It is the middle of the summer. I think you want to get those, the ugly road win and get on the first plane with AC back to Philadelphia.
Blaring AC, please. And Ed, don't worry. Or Ed, wait, oh, he's talking about Ed in the comment. I thought you were talking about Peter for a second. Peter, if you have a beer, we're beer friendly here, so don't you dare worry.
I wasn't asking. I've been drinking the whole show.
Wait, Justin, you got a beer too?
Oh no, this is sparkling water. No,
Sparkling water, Justin.
I have a few beers. No, I got my pen. So
there you go.
That's post game.
Awesome stuff. All right. Well, listen, Peter, we really appreciate you coming on in here, man. It was a pleasure finally getting to meet you after all the great content you put out for Football Miami TV alongside as well. Peter, where can people find the great work of Football Miami TV?
At Football Miami TV on everything. So YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And we broadcast our on the show on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all these things simultaneously. So we're easy to find. Just go follow. And also you can go to footballmiamitv.com.
There you go. We'll put the links in the descriptions as well, so you guys can go check them out. But definitely check them out. They're doing a great job over there covering the Inter Miami club that we have down there. So, Peter, seriously, thank you so much. And please, anytime you guys decide to come in Philly, please let us know. The brotherly love thing is real. It's not like, we actually give brotherly love. So definitely, please let us know, man. And there you go, Kyla.
And not 30% off.
That'd be nice. It's a nice little deal for sure.
It has been at times, but it's not right now.
There you go.
So, Yeah,
All
thanks guys for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and we'll have to return the favor and have you guys on our show sometime in the future.
Anytime. You let us know, Peter. Well, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of Dupe by the River. Big thank you to Peter for hopping on in. Guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe for all your further Dupe by the River viewings. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Peter Brown. That is Zach Labasso. That is Justin Carranza, Cycling Appreciator Friedberg. Of course, I am El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on. Talk to you guys next time.